Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We have a bit of gaming news to discuss today. It has to do with Call of the Wild the Angler. Now, I may not have been an official content creator for this game, but we've definitely had this game on the channel. You know me, I love my hunt and fishing games, man. You know, those are games that I really do enjoy, and we have some sad news, I guess, for the Angler, depending on how you look at it. So basically, they are done developing the Angler. So let's go down here, and I'm going to read the statement, and then I'm going to kind of give some of my thoughts pardon me, on what's going on. Anglers, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the end of development of Call of the Wild the Angler. The Angler will remain playable both online and offline in its current state, and you'll still be able to purchase and access the base game and all DLC content across all platforms. The big difference is that there won't be any new content or updates moving forward. Our vision with the Angler was to create a fresh take on the fishing sim genre, inspired by our love and passion for fishing and open world games. It's given us so much joy seeing your appreciation for the worlds we created and excitement in catching something new with each big update. We wouldn't have made it these 2.5 years if we hadn't listened very closely to our passionate community, and for that passion we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. However, maintaining the audience size necessary to support continued development of this ambitious game proved more challenging than expected. It was time for the team to move on to other projects. We understand that this may come as a surprise. I want you to know it was not an easy decision to make. Although the excitement of the new content updates has come to an end, we hope you will still enjoy reruns of in-game events and playing online with friends old and new. There's much to explore in 5 reserves as well. It's difficult to leave a project that was driven by so much passion. We'll always hold it dear, but we're bringing our experience and expertise to new horizons within Avalanche Studios Group. So please cheer us on. We're proud to say that our hard work and dedication brought the beauty of fishing and boatloads of bad fishing fun to players around the world. Special shout out to our moderators who endured the aftermath of the gold-green sunfish and the carpsucker hunt of 24, if you know you know, and of course the members of our player council who put countless hours into feedback on updates and making them as good as possible for the rest of the Angler world. Once again, we want to thank you all for the hours you spent fishing so far, for all the feedback you've left us, and all the fantastic memories and memes created so far. Here's to great catches we've shared, and to those that are still to come. Team Angler. Then they continue on with frequently asked question portion. What does the end of develop mean? It means no more updates, no more DLC content, no more new content. The game is done. What we have in the game right now with all the DLC, that's all we're going to get. Multiplayer will not be affected. It will continue to be supported. Interesting thing is the community Discord server will move to a read-only format on February 4th. Most information will still be available on it after that. That said, we are of course encouraging you to start up your own servers, continue sharing and chatting about the Angler. This has a lot of people in their Discord pretty upset. They're like, they don't understand why they can't just continue on in this Discord. I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that the people involved with the game, they're moving on, so they won't be moderators. But it still seems like they could leave the Discord open if people want it. I don't know. But if we go back up to the top here, and it says, our vision with the Angler was to create a fresh take on the fishing sim genre. See, this is where I have an issue, because the Angler was not a fishing sim. I'm sorry. It was arcade. It was not realistic. I think a lot of the issues with a game like the Angler is that we have established fishing games like Fishing Planet and Russian Fishing 4, and they have a lot of the features and mechanics that this game didn't have, and it should have had from the get-go. People will say Fishing Planet, you couldn't, it didn't have fish finders in the beginning. It didn't have boats in the beginning. Hell, when Fishing Planet first started, you couldn't walk around with your pole in your hand when you were actually fishing, when the pole was in the water like you can now. That came later. But those games are out now. So for you to make a fishing game right now, in this day and age, it has to compete with the games that are already out. And this title, The Angler, it did not compete with those titles. The things it was missing from the launch were just unacceptable. You know, I feel like the bigger fishing community, they don't want to wait for these things to come into a game when we have games that already have these mechanics and features. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just pointless. Like, why would I play this game when I can do all this stuff in these other two games that I can't do in this game? The biggest thing the Angler had going for it was the open world aspect. The fact that you could just hop in a Jeep and go and fish in a pond or in a stream or a lake, or, you know, and discover all these waterways. That was fantastic, and I still really hope that we see a proper open world fishing game that takes that idea of exploration and being able to fish wherever you want to fish with the good mechanics of, you know, Russian Fishing 4 or Fishing Planet, and combine them and make an ultimate fishing game. Now, another thing I kind of want to point out, and this is probably going to be a little controversial to say, but if you're going to make a fishing and hunting game, I kind of feel like you have to expect that your bigger audience is going to be in America. I get that fishing is popular worldwide. I do get that. You know, I watch a lot of fishing content on YouTube. I see a lot of things on like the European side where there's a lot of regulations and there's a lot of restrictions and stuff that they have over there that we don't have over here. But I think that any developer has to face the fact that hunting and fishing are going to be a lot bigger with an American audience than anywhere. Okay, so when you have a fishing game and you have bass boats and you don't have fish finders and you don't have trolling motors, you know, and you don't have flipping and pitching, and, you know, it's just, it's not going to work, man. It's not going to work, you know. And I get it. There was a huge audience that did love the Angler. I get that. You know, those were the casual gamers that wanted a nice, fun, arcadey fishing experience. But unfortunately, they just weren't a large enough audience to support this game, to keep this game running. This game needed to draw from the Fishing Planet, the Russian Fishing 4, you know, those games. They need to bring them over. And the game, it just didn't appeal to more hardcore fishing fanatics. You know, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it. You know, I mean, even to this day, the reeling animations in the Angler is so janky. It looks weird. It looks like, sometimes it looks like you're reeling with a broken arm. I mean, it's just kind of a mess, you know. So, and another thing, they mention in here about feedback from the players and stuff, and I really don't feel that they really did listen all that much to the players' feedback. And I know people are going to say, like, I was reading it in their Discord this morning. You know, you had people in there saying, you know, people don't understand how difficult it is to develop a game. You know, you can't just suggest something and then 5 minutes later they put it in the game. Look, I get that. I know. I'm not saying that game development is easy, but with what they were putting in the game, you can clearly see where their priorities were. You can clearly see the suggestions that they were running with and the suggestions that they were like, nope, we don't care. You know, Call of the Wild, they do the exact same thing. You know, you can see in their Discord, you can read all the suggestions people have that they want to see in the game, and with each DLC they release, you can see where their priorities are. You can see that they don't want to stray from what the game is. Same thing with the Angler. They had no intention of making this game a more realistic sim experience. It was an arcade, and they were fine with it, and they were like, you know what, we're gonna give you skins, we're gonna give you cosmetics, we're gonna give you silly masks to wear. And you know, that's okay maybe for younger players, or maybe real casual gamers, but I know, like me as a fisherman that likes fishing games, that enjoys Fishing Planet and Russian Fishing 4, I could care less about wearing a troll mask. You know what I mean? It's a silly thing which would have been welcomed if they would have given us better mechanics, more gear. I mean, they hardly ever gave you new gear in this game, right? It's always the same stuff. You could go fishing in Africa and have the same exact live bait in Africa that you have in America or Japan. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man. It's like you couldn't even bother to give us new baits on new fishing maps. You know what I mean? It just felt very lazy to me, you know. And I apologize for anybody that really enjoyed the game. And I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong, you know. And I enjoyed the game too for what it was. But in reality, there's just no way this game was going to succeed with what it had. So that's all I really want to say about that, guys. If you enjoyed the game, I apologize that it's ending for you and there's going to be no new content. But unfortunately, this is the side of business, you know what I mean? And that's another thing I want to just talk about really quickly. I've seen some people commenting in Discord saying that, you know, oh, this feels like a spur of the moment thing and this and that. I can assure you that this was not. I'm sure Avalanche has been talking to EW and saying, hey, look it, you know, you got to do something. If you can't get sales up, if you can't get more money coming in from this game, we're going to have to shut it down. You know, and I'm positive that that's not something that popped up in like the last 2 weeks. That's something that they've been probably talking about probably ever since the Japan release. Anyways, guys, that's all I got to say about it. Feel free to leave comments down below. Keep it civil. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we will see you next time.